After all, if we look to the Emerald Tablet with that whole as above so below shtick.
Oh god, I forgot that's where this ended last time. What the hell is an Emerald Tablet when it's at home? Well, I know what it is. It's some old voodoo bullshit that your lot is always trotting out as if ancient idiots had anything of actual value to say. Which I'm not saying they never did, but chances are if you have never heard of something from back in the day, it's 'cause it's useless now. So here's hoping in a few hundred years no one will know about either of us, eh? If that happens, maybe there is a god.
If the universe is unified on a foundational level, we gotta be as well.
Do we though? I don't think so. If the universe is any particular way that we are by necessity, like, you know, the universe is made of atoms and we are too, that's just how things are. But if the universe has some ethereal quality that people don't have by default, then why do people have to be that? That doesn't follow. One would think the way you gotta be is how you are, and that's it. Otherwise, why are you even that way?
We can't hope to comprehend the nature of the soul if we try to divide it into manageable parts.
Or even like, at all, for some inexplicable reason. That's definitely not because souls don't real. It's probably because if you cut up a soul into manageable pieces, it looks like a pie, and then you think, pie, and then you wander off to acquire pie and forget about that whole soul thing because there are far more important pie-based things going on in the world. Is it just me, or is anyone else hungry for pie?
Because the soul only exists in unity.
Ah, well, of course, that's where souls exist. You can make anything in Unity. It's a very flexible video game engine that a lot of complete shitheels have used to fart out the artistic equivalent of one of my videos, but it's also been used to make actually good things too. I do wonder which category souls would fall into though.
The idea of a unified whole is at the center of most New Age religious movements.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Most, if not all, New Age religions are absolutely chock full of unified wholes. And you know, they're always talking about the souls that they have as a group. Our souls this, our souls that. Just a bunch of complete and total arseholes. Original joke TM, do not steal.
While beings such as angels or ascended masters are generally thought to exist.
Wait, I'm sorry, what? Generally thought to exist? By who? You know, Wudo science spouting dipshit is not a demographic that I would consider to be general. At least I fucking hope not, since you lot are just the goddamn worst. Imagine if you were everywhere. That's the sort of apocalypse movie that's just not any fun for anyone. Because you blow off the heads of the monsters and yet they still keep talking about their favourite bleach enema. You know, because they're constantly talking out of their asses.
The main principled divinity is largely holistic.
Goddamn, you are getting really good at the compressed word salad. That's like the shortest sentence I've ever heard with the least meaning humanly possible. It's amazing how you manage to take a bunch of words that have meanings on their own and use them to actually extract a coherent point out of the universe. It's almost scary.
It's never really defined and differs depending on who you talk to.
When something isn't defined and its meaning changes from person to person, that's a really, really big clue as to how it's total fucking BS. Things that are real and do things have largely agreed upon attributes and characteristics and can be defined in similar ways. I seriously don't understand how you spend your life talking shit that you admit no one agrees upon anything about, and act as if that means anything other than everything you do and say is nonsense. It's a skill that I am glad I do not have.
But this concept of a universal soul, or ocean of oneness, is, well...
absolute horseshit? That's what you were going to say for once in your life? You're going to decide to be honest about your beliefs and actually say something true about them? Yeah? Look, if he gets to live in a fantasy world where completely unrealistic things happen, I should get to live in one too. I think it's only fair.
Almost universal.
I'm sorry, what now? Say that again.
But this concept of a universal soul is almost universal.
Yeah, I thought so, and what the hell are you talking about? Even people who believe in souls largely don't believe that. Why you gotta make up shit other people believe to try and bolster this garbage? Well, I suppose if you didn't make things up for people to believe, then no one would believe any of it, really.
While both the soul and source are often described as energy...
Oh awesome, we got sauce now. I do love a bit of the sauce, and it does give me the energy I need to put up with your shit. Because of course we all know that energy is just another word for drunk off my arse. Because damn, how many of these have I done now? Like at least 3. And it's still the hardest kind of video to make because everything you say is just so pointless.
Most often, all things are said to consist of love.
Oh look, a perfect example. Who would have thunk? Most things are made of love. How would that even work? What are the constituent properties of love? How is love used in the construction of, well, f***ing anything? I think the only thing that you can make with love is a very sticky, off-putting, quote-unquote, snowman. Mrs. Sick, don't you dare draw that!
This can kind of get confusing as it isn't just the concept of love.
Something you say is kind of confusing? Holy shit, and there I was thinking that was the entire point. That you made everything you talk about this confusing jumbled mess of non sequiturs that people wouldn't be able to follow. So you could trick them into thinking that you had just said something too smart for them to understand. So they just nod their heads in the vain hope that they look smart too. Unfortunately, what they're nodding along to might as well just be a blank screen and static noises for all the information that is actually gotten across.
But just like the word energy, sometimes love takes on the role of a noun and is thought to be an active binding force in the universe.
A noun and an active binding force and the constituent part of everything in the universe. Damn, this love thing is a real triple threat guy. It's weird that all the peer-reviewed academic papers seem to never bring it up in regards to how the universe came to be or how anything works. Isn't that just really weird?
That is just as vital as the other fundamental forces.
Oh, off, and not to go all Rick and Morty on you, but love is just a chemical reaction in your brain that is useful for getting humans, and I'm assuming some animals, to breed. And that's not to say it's not a nice thing, and I'm not even saying it's not a deeply moving and important when it happens, but it is not one of the fundamental forces of nature. And if you really want to compare to such things, love has never really done much more than gotten someone to build a big fancy dead person house or invade another country. Compare those quite paltry acts to literal fucking supernovas, and love seems rather quaint by comparison, almost as if it relies entirely on humans to feel it in order to achieve anything. And we all know how worthless those guys are.
Maybe then the best way to say this is that the universal energy that binds all things together is experienced as love.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, personally, I think the best way you could have said that would be to not say anything at all. But that's me being quite unfair. I'm sure I could come up with a better one. Habba babba, scoop de flangle mod. Ma 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 plop. Yeah, that's much more accurate and really captures the true essence of what you were trying to say.
Since the New Age movement grew out of the Theosophy movement of the 19th century,
F***ing Theopathy movement. I mean, I don't know what that is, but it sounds like theology got drunk, and that's my job. Worse still, it apparently spawned the New Age movement, and that's the kind of crime that can never be forgiven. You know, like the same as how people exist. Bastards.
it adapted a lot of its original beliefs about the soul from there.
It's weird how that works, that you adapt your beliefs, not that you learn actual new things, that new concrete information comes to pass, and new understanding of reality shapes your beliefs, but that you take a bunch of old ideas that didn't work, adapt them into a set of new ideas that also don't work, because of fucking course they don't, and at no point do you think, this isn't working, maybe I should stop.
Which in turn came from Buddhist and Hindu beliefs brought to the West by people like Helena Blavatsky and Alexandra David Neal.
Belief thieves, eh? Can you imagine being them today, thinking what a great new interesting philosophy you're bringing over, to then seeing the shit people spew now? And that's not to say that I think Buddhism or any non-Crimsbian religion really is much better, but at least they're kind of interesting and actually somewhat coherent, because it didn't just take things from everywhere it could at complete random to make the absolute monster of gibberish that is modern spiritualist garbage.
So there's a pretty common belief that our soul reincarnates through a succession of lives.
Well, that just kind of reminds me of the joke, it's a commonly believed fact. Like, yeah, there are a number of people who believe souls reincarnate. And aside from the fact that they don't even real, just because a lot of people may believe that doesn't make it true. Facts aren't decided by what anybody thinks is right. Otherwise, I would be handsome, famous and good at the sex, the creaky blinder wouldn't have an accent, and the show Big Bang Theory would be funny.
As it evolves from a lower state of spiritual awareness towards a higher one.
Oh, don't use words like evolve like you know what they mean. I mean, I'm pretty sure you don't know what any words mean. I think you just make noises from your face and then put them on the internet, and that's the entire process you go through to make one of these videos. What? It makes more sense than he actually writes the fucking things on purpose. My God, could you even imagine?
Where things get different though, is that the New Age movement adds in this idea that our soul somehow subconsciously determines our own rebirth in accordance with our spiritual needs.
That is so Spirit Boys, isn't it? You have no reason to think anything like that. You just do because, I don't know, it sounds nice, I guess. It's what you want it to be, so that's what you believe it is. I find that fucking baffling. Like, sure, it would be lovely if I was obscenely rich, living on a beach, able to while away my days sipping margaritas and watching the earth get cleansed of the human plague by a militant alien menace. But we don't all get what we think would be nice. We get, well, disappointment mostly.
Which necessitates some kind of awareness or independent existence from the mind and body, and also an awareness of possibilities or potential futures.
I mean, I suppose, but the issue I have is why do you even think that's how it could be in the first place? Did you discover some never-before-seen force that demonstrates the existence of souls and such? Did you do a science on it to check to see if what you thought you had discovered was actually something completely different and not at all what you thought? Or did you do none of that and just decided you were right because?
Generally, the New Age view of reincarnation assumes a learning purpose to rebirth.
Assumes. Now there's a good word. Assumption, let's be frank, that this entire shtick is 100% assumption. Every last thing you think or say is some kind of weird presumption about how reality works, with not a one thing that actually, backs it up. Only more speculation about how some other shit that you can't prove completely supports your nonsense. And often it still doesn't.
Our soul incarnates as needed then in order to learn from the world and develop itself to the highest possible extent.
Okay, but why? What purpose does that fulfill? You just keep getting more and more conscious until one day you are so aware that what? What happens? I can't imagine anything interesting, just a shitload of, okay, what next? And then the realization that, oh right, nothing. There's nothing to strive for, nothing to achieve, just the endless void and maximum awareness of its pointlessness. Not gonna lie, that sounds fucking horrifying.
Where then we can help others do the same and facilitate the evolution of consciousness.
Oh great, not only are you damning yourself to an endless screaming emptiness, but you're actually going to inflict that on as many people as you can. Alright, okay. That's actually pretty damned evil. Nice, I'm actually impressed, not gonna lie. Didn't think you had it in you, buddy.
What form the soul would take on other planes is an entire video on its own.
Please, 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 for the love of God, don't make it. You already have like 8 zillion videos of this trash already, and for some reason people still want me to keep making these responses. But all you do is say things that don't make sense, and I have to come up with freshly reused jokes. It's fucking hard, man. Penis joke.
But there is a common belief that incarnation as a human on Earth is only one option for the reincarnating soul.
Wait. Are you telling me that people choose to be humans? Why the f*** would anyone, or I suppose anything, choose to do that? I mean, it's like being given the choice to drive a Bugatti or a literal piece of weak old dog shit. I mean, how would you even do that? It's not fit for anything of the sort. It's a piece of actual waste. Oh, you thought I was still talking about the dog turds? No.
Generally speaking, there's a belief that your level of awareness will permit your rebirth, and merely being aware of the possibility of incarnating into other realities offers the chance of doing so.
What? Well, then what's the point of any of this? I mean, you could literally just say, by the way, reincarnation though, and that's good enough. You don't have to start making shit up and spreading lies about reality if what you believe is even partially true. Although it's max of Pascal's wager. Believe my thing. What else is there to believe apart from all the things?
Dibs on Saturn next time, you guys.
Wait a sec, are you saying that you can reincarnate as a planet? How the fuck does that work? I don't know if you know this, but A, Saturn is a planet and planets don't alive, and B, even if it was, you would be literally forcing its previous occupant out in order to be it instead. And that's just kind of fucked up. Or worst of all, that you join its occupant, and everyone knows sharing is literally a fate worse than death.
Our challenge is that because of Hollywood and popular media, when most people think about what their soul looks like, they immediately default to that faded astral body like out of Doctor Strange.
Do they? And how do you know that's what people do? I don't. I think of a floating orb of energy, and I'm sure other people have other ideas too. Again, this just is you assuming things you couldn't possibly know about for no reason. And even worse, this is one that you could, ask people about. But that ain't you, is it? Actually proving your hypothesis. It's a bit too much like hard work.
That is, a condensed body that looks, talks, and I guess floats, maybe? Either way, it moves around like you or I do in normal day-to-day life.
What, so it sort of lies on the couch making loud grunting noises to get people's attention for the chance that someone might bring whiskey and chips and then pour them in its mouth? Well, at least it's got the right idea how to live life to the fullest.
When you actually examine the concept of an astral body though, this kind of falls apart. I'm not gonna try and explain what a soul is made of, because even we don't know.
It falls apart, even though we have literally no idea what it is or what it's made of. No mate, that's really fucking stupid, even by your standards. You know what it isn't without having even the remotest idea of what it possibly could be. I'm pretty sure that's not how anything works. Even dumb shit that doesn't exist.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the